up? My name's Hamlet. It's a good friend of mine, Danny Lopez. Danny Lopez.
What up?
Say what's up.
What up?
Some of the bands you've been in?
When I was in middle school and in high school, I played in a band called Idle Minds. After that, I played in a band called All Hell Breaks Loose. Dead Lions, a band called Malachi, and now I play in a band called Aversion.
What got you into hardcore?
Well, growing up, I was always a big fan of metal and shit like that. Pantera was probably my favorite band growing up. Bands like Slayer and Sepultura, even bands like Fear Factory and shit like that. I remember my dad bought me a VHS cassette, and I don't know if it was like in 97 or 98, but it was of the first Ozfest. And on that VHS, it had bands like Pantera, Sepultura, all those bands that I had just mentioned. Mm-hmm. And Earth Crisis, I believe, was the opening band on that VHS. And I was always very familiar with these bigger epic metal bands and shit like that. But when I saw Earth Crisis play, it was like something I had never seen ever before. It was a bond that those dudes had with the crowd. It was a bond that those dudes had with each other. Just the way they interacted with each other on stage was fucking completely mind-blowing and changed like the way I looked at heavy music at that point. And that was probably my first exposure to hardcore music, yeah.
They had like the X's in their hands.
Yeah, man, they're all fucking X'd up and all wearing hoodies and.
I miss those days.
Yeah, dude, it was completely different from like what I knew as metal and heavy music at that point, and I was also like, always into punk rock bands and shit like that. And when I heard Earth Crisis, I felt like they brought those two genres of music together really well. And after I heard that, man, hardcore became a real big part of my life.
True that.
Yeah.
So Danny, there was a time when like the alley was really big and all that, and
right.
I kind of didn't see you too much at shows. What was that about?
Around when that place was closing and had just closed, my life definitely took a turn for the worse. My best friend Joe La Madrid passed away, and leading up to that point, some of my friends and I were always up to a lot of real scandalous shit and a lot of fucked up behavior, and I ended up with a pretty serious addiction to drugs like heroin and cocaine and Xanax and pain medication, and I actually ended up homeless, man. Homeless, was living on the street and shit, and that contributed to me being kicked out of and leaving, bands that I was in. And, dude, the best thing that people could have ever done for me was to bounce, for sure.
Real?
And just to say, dude, fuck you.
What got you to get clean?
I mean, I was homeless, and that's not the lifestyle that I was accustomed to, man. The people I was running with were, came from bad families and bad neighborhoods and were fucking abused as kids, and, it almost, made sense that that's what their life had turned out to be, and that was not my case. I come from a fucking excellent family. My parents loved me to death, and going down that path led me, like I said, to being homeless, and I couldn't put up with that for long. I'm not built to fucking live that lifestyle, you know what I mean? So after doing that for a minute, sleeping on people's couches and sleeping on the street and begging for money, breaking into cars and shit, and just living a real destructive lifestyle, I decided to get clean. I went to rehab, and I've never looked back ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
What do you do now that you've been clean, and how long have you been clean actually?
In February I'll have 7 years, and most important thing that I enjoy doing more than anything else is talking to kids and going to institutions and jails and to groups and treatment centers and talking to kids about my experience with drugs and alcohol. For about 2 years, I worked for a nonprofit organization that used to take kids out of school and take them to different functions and events and show them that like there is a life outside of drugs and alcohol, and you can party and can have fun without having to use drugs and alcohol. And that was a huge part of my life. That was very important to me. In the last 2 years, my wife and I opened a CrossFit gym. It's called CrossFit Soul. It's on Bird Road and 72nd Avenue. And that has become another very big part of my life. I'm a business owner now, and we train weightlifters and CrossFitters and kids and people trying to lose weight and to get strong and all different kinds of walks of life. So, all that stuff. Play fantasy sports, watch baseball, watch basketball, hang out with my homies, play music. That pretty much consists of my life, man.
That's cool. You know what I noticed different about your gym or like a LA Fitness or Bally's or anything is that like people that listen to hardcore or straight up like real hip hop or something go to your gym and feel more comfortable. But then like LA Fitness and all that place, like it's like going to a club, and then going to your gym is like going to the alley. So that's the way I see it, you know?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why do you think like that you guys have that vibe?
I mean, me growing up, I was very fucking overweight, and obviously, like I've said a bunch, I was using a lot of drugs, right? And what I attribute that to, man, is I always kind of looked at that culture, exercise culture and fitness culture, and people being healthy and doing the right thing as something that was very unattainable for me because kind of,
like jockey.
Yeah, it was full of fucking jocks, and at the time, and still now, I thought it was, overwhelmed with fucking douchebags,
Yeah.
And when we did our thing, we set out to kind of put to rest that myth that like fitness is gonna be that our gym has to be like a fitness club or have any of those elements. So we try to be as different as humanly possible, and our gym is filled with guys that we've grown up with and gone on hardcore shows. Yeah, hardcore shows and punk rock shows and hip hop shows, and it's a lot of very like-minded individuals, and it's really dope because we now get to influence those guys that may or may not have gone down the same path as I did back then too, So yeah, we try to be as different as possible, man, from like the art that we put out and the music that we listen to in the gym and the kinds of workouts that we do and the environment that we have.
In the gym mostly?
Well, if my boy Sean is coaching, he likes to put on some of the Lil Wayne and Roscoe Dash and some of that shit, but we listen to a lot of punk rock and hardcore and hip hop at our gym as well, Yeah.
That's awesome. CrossFit is getting a lot of hype. Like everywhere I drive around the city a lot because I cut hair in a lot of different places. I see a lot of CrossFit. What is that about? What's like the hype? And what is CrossFit actually? Because still a lot of people that have no idea what it is.
CrossFit is basically an exercise program.
Yeah.
It's an exercise program that incorporates several different methods and kinds of fitness, from powerlifting, Olympic style weightlifting, gymnastics and like body weight stuff, to endurance sports and plyometrics, a lot of core conditioning and sprinting, long running, short running. Incorporates a little bit of all that stuff. And some people very competitively look at it as a sport, but really in its simplest, purest form, it's an exercise program. That's what CrossFit is and what it's all about. Some people treat CrossFit as a professional sport. On that level, those guys make money and they get sponsored and.
Yeah, I seen the girl that's on the commercial for Reebok.
Mm-hmm.
That girl's life probably changed a lot since she won that year.
Yeah, man. She's from Iceland, and
I'm gonna beat her, dog.
She's a fucking badass, dude. She'll smoke any dude I know in CrossFit, man.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. I saw it online, man. Bro, I'll be exhausted the first lift I do because they don't just do like regular lifting. They do some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah, they do like heavy stuff for reps, and then they'll do like you know, some record lifts and some heavy singles, and they do a pretty good job at making stuff pretty different and varied.
I'm gonna be in the CrossFit game next year.
First, you have to come to the gym more than once a week.
Once a week.
I shouldn't say that while you're fucking cutting my beard, right?
I know. Sweeney Todd. Thank you for watching In the Cut. Thank you, Danny, for showing up and helping and doing the whole thing with CrossFit, getting me in shape because I need it. Make sure you comment on the videos. Let me know what you guys think. Anything you guys think would be better for the videos, let me know. It's In the Cut. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Thug Life.